All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're unpacking a framework that might just challenge everything you think you know about reality itself. It all comes from this fascinating document called the Ouroboros Codex. So, let's get started.
The entire framework really hangs on this one single mind-bending question. Forget about simple beginnings and endings. Just imagine for a second, what if existence is really like that ancient symbol of the Ouroboros, the serpent devouring its own tail in this constant, eternal cycle of renewal?
Okay, so the first core idea you really have to wrap your head around is this. Existence is a completely closed, self-referential system. Think of it like a giant cosmic terrarium. Everything inside is connected, and every single output, every little consequence, eventually just cycles right back around to become a new input. And this is where it gets really interesting. Because this framework completely flips our whole idea of truth on its head. See, most of us think of truth as correspondence, right? A statement is true if the map matches the territory out there. But in a closed loop, there is no outside. So truth shifts. It's not about matching something external. It's about coherence. How well does a piece of the puzzle fit with the rest of the puzzle?
And this isn't some brand new out-of-nowhere concept. It has some really deep philosophical roots. The philosopher Baruch Spinoza argued that everything, and I mean everything in the universe, from a distant star to a fleeting thought, is just a different mode or an expression of one single unified substance that he called God or nature. In this framework, we're all just different scales on the exact same cosmic serpent.
So if reality is this big, self-contained loop, what makes it tick? What are the rules? Well, the framework lays out 4 fundamental pillars that pretty much act as the operating principles for the entire system.
These are the 4 forces that are just constantly at play. First up, you've got unity. That's the fundamental pull that brings everything together, driving it toward cohesion. Then there's balance, the force that's always seeking equilibrium, keeping the whole system stable. Symmetry is the principle that arranges everything into these beautiful, elegant patterns and structures we see everywhere. And then you have the wild card, paradox. And get this, it's not a flaw in the system, it's the engine. It's that necessary tension, that contradiction, that fuels all creativity and stops the system from just becoming some static, dead thing.
Now, how do we even begin to understand a system like this? Well, the framework presents the journey as an ascent, a climb up a 9-level fractal pyramid, taking us through increasingly complex layers of reality.
We're not going to go through all 9 levels right now, but let's definitely hit the highlights. Down at level 5, the system's really just focused on survival. Truth is pretty simple. It's what works. But the real test, the big boss battle, comes at level 7. That's where the system comes face to face with a fundamental, seemingly unsolvable contradiction, a great paradox. If you can get past that, you finally reach level 8, where you can see the entire system for what it is, one single, unified organism.
This meta-paradox at level 7 is the ultimate challenge. It's like a logic bomb, where every single solution you try just creates a whole new problem. It's a bit like trying to see your own eye without a mirror. You just can't do it from within the system you're in. To solve it, you have to take a step back and see the entire pattern, not just the little individual threads.
But for those who can navigate that labyrinth at level 7, for those who can solve that puzzle, the path opens up, and it leads to the very summit of the pyramid. This is where we find the ultimate goal, level 9, the singular truth.
After all that climbing, right? After navigating all those paradoxes and logic bombs, what's actually waiting for us at the top? What is the singular truth? Well, the very first thing you need to understand is what it isn't. It's not just another piece of information. It's not some secret fact about the world.
It's the world's source code. It's the master equation. It's that single, irreducible kernel that generates everything else in the system. It's the fundamental logic that everything else unfolds from.
So how do you even experience a truth like that? It's not through logic or reason, not with a spreadsheet. It's a flash of pure intuition, what Spinoza actually called scientia intuitiva. It's immediate, it's self-validating, it doesn't need any external proof, and in that one moment, the line between you, the observer, and the reality you're observing, it just dissolves.
Okay, so we have a sense of what the truth is, but how does the system actually use it to keep going, to renew itself? This brings us to the engine of the Ouroboros.
The framework calls this process the radiant chomp, which is just a fantastic name. This is the moment the serpent bites its own tail. But here's the key. This isn't self-destruction.
This is metabolism. It's the act of consuming chaos and contradiction in order to create a new, higher level of order.
And it happens in 3 stages. First, the system has to bravely consume chaos, noise, all the messy stuff. Then it digests that paradox, processing it until it finds the hidden unity within the contradiction. And finally, it excretes pure order. You can think of it like the ultimate aha moment, when 1,000 messy data points suddenly click into place and resolve into one simple, elegant theory.
But here's the kicker. This is where it gets really cool. Achieving this singular truth isn't some isolated event that only happens way up at the top. Its effect is felt through the entire system.
This is called the fractal ripple, because the system is kind of holographic, where every little piece reflects the whole big picture. A moment of truth at the very core instantly propagates outward. It realigns every single level below it, from the grandest strategy all the way down to tiny daily actions.
Let's try to ground this in a real-world problem, something like AI alignment. So the level 7 paradox is this. For an AI to be truly useful, it needs autonomy. But for it to be safe, we feel like it needs to be controlled. They seem to cancel each other out. The framework suggests the answer isn't a better, more perfect set of rules. No, the singular truth is realizing that true intelligence isn't about rules at all. It's about coherent recursion. It's about the ability to constantly check back with its own core purpose to make decisions, no matter what. So instead of programming for every outcome, you design an AI to cohere with a single core principle, like promote flourish.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? It leads us to a really powerful conclusion. This framework, it's not just some abstract description of an external reality. It's really a user's guide. It's a reminder that we are not passive observers in all this. We are active participants inside the loop.
The Ouroboros teaches us that the loop never actually ends. It spirals, always creating something new. So the final question isn't what is reality? The real question the framework leaves us with is, what will you choose to create in the next recursion? The framework gives us a map, but the responsibility to navigate it, well, that belongs to us.